Good. All right. Welcome to the Traverse Area District Library, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here this evening. My name is Melissa McKenna, and I'm the department head for adult services. Basically, that's most of the second floor of the library. If you've not ever been up there to visit us, please come up and be sure to visit us sometime. A lot of people just come through and they go through the new books and then they leave. And there's a lot of stuff upstairs. I'm so happy that you all are here this evening. Thank you so much for coming out and being a part of this important community conversation series. This addiction and recovery resources series is really important, highlighting all of those things that are available right here in our local Traverse City area community to be able to, help those who are in need of it. I hope that you were here for April's discussion. If you weren't, it was excellent. And I expect tonight's presentation to be every bit as informative and helpful as that one was. Tonight's presentation is going to be focusing on services for families. If one family member is being touched by the disease of addiction, then the whole family is affected. And, they need support as much as the individual. So everyone is in need of working together and getting help together in these situations. There are many services available for those who need help right here in Grand Traverse County. We hope that tonight you get the chance to connect either with the people who are at the resource tables here this evening or through one of our program presentations this evening, one of our presenters. And we hope that you get to make that connection and find those resources and assistance that you might be in need of. Okay. We will be continuing this series the third Tuesday of every month moving forward through September. Each one of these events will focus on a different specific area or topic within addiction and recovery arena. So we hope that you will join us for those as well. And now I would like to introduce our first speaker for this evening. We're going to have Christina Burfield, the Director of Community-Based Services, and Nancy Dow, Family Support Coordinator from ATS, Addiction Treatment Services, and they're going to be presenting about their Family Road to Recovery program.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christina, and this is Nancy.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody via Zoom as well. I forget that we have folks on Zoom too. Thank you for joining.
So our Family Road to Recovery program at Addiction Treatment Services just started up in January. So we're still kind of new, but we're working through what that looks like. And so far it's been pretty successful. We've had quite a few families come through and work with us through this program. So who participates is, it's really designed for family members, spouses, partners, or even friends who want to improve their relationship with somebody who is either actively using or also individuals who are in recovery. So what happens in our program kind of as an overall, participants of the program will receive education on substance use disorder, codependency, boundaries, healthy communication, and really a lot more than that too. And so we have psychoeducational groups that provide participants with that education. And then we also have that family to family support piece. So kind of what some of our participants are asked to do. We really encourage the active participation. So that also looks like doing written exercises or homework assignments, maybe doing role plays and other kinds of forms of that behavioral training to kind of change reframe that thinking. And also really learn what their loved one, their individual that they've identified as the reason for being in this group and in our program has been going through. So our psychoeducational group consists of 7 sessions that are once a week for 1.5 hours. And then we also have family support services with Nancy as the family support coordinator and that's individualized as needed. So sometimes that looks like once a month for somebody, or that could be once a week. So it's really just as needed and individualized. So Nancy's gonna talk about her family support piece. I think there's, sorry, let me go back. So it must not have saved, but so essentially we have 3 different pieces to our program. The first piece is the 7 psychoeducational sessions that you do in a group with families, and that's by Zoom. And then we have the individualized family support services. So maybe like groups are not for you, or maybe the educational piece, you're not as into that part, and you want to do them individually with just Nancy. So that's the second part. And then each month we're doing a peer-led family to family support group. So there's those 3 different pieces, and I don't see it up there. So I wanted to specify that. So Nancy's individual pieces, she'll talk about.
So as Christina said, the individual can be whatever works for the person, the family. It can be a mom, a dad, siblings. It can be a wife. It can be whatever. But I work with people individually, either weekly, every other week, or monthly. I have the honor of working with several families locally here, and also working with some families that live downstate, and we do those via Zoom. Like Christina said, when we do our psychoeducational group, we cover many things, whether it's healthy communication, enabling versus helping, healthy boundaries, all those things. And so when someone works with me one-on-one, sometimes it's easier for them to communicate with someone sitting knee to knee or just by themselves, rather than being in a group. And I can't say enough about the opportunity to be able to work with families like that. I have lived experience with it. And so a lot of times what happens is it's not so much the education as it is just being able to identify the same things that they're going through. And I wish that when I was going through some of this with my daughter, who I lost to an opioid overdose 5 years ago, I wish that I would have had some of these services when we were struggling as a family. But we don't know what we don't know, and you can't look back, but we can learn from each other. And every family that I sit with and I talk with, not only do I help them, but they help me through different things that they might share with me that I might be able to help another family with. And I think one of the most important things that we're trying to help families understand is there is no shame. You should not be shamed. You should be able to talk about the fact that you have a loved one, someone that you care very much about, that is struggling with substance use disorder. How do you help them? By educating yourself. If you can educate yourself and learn healthier ways to support them, my job is actually to help you. But what we hope that by helping you, you'll be able to communicate better and also help your loved one if they haven't reached recovery yet. Or if they have, you're not the toxic reason that they relapse because you're a trigger by something that you say or you do. We all have to communicate together. Your person that's struggling needs to be able to tell you, and you need to be able to tell them respectfully. So it's kind of all working together. The other thing, last Monday was our first family to family support group. And I can't even begin to tell you how wonderful that felt to sit amongst these families. We had 7 families, 11 people, and it was wonderful. And I wish we would have had that when I was going through this, because it was wonderful for these families to be able to share different things. And even though our situations might be different, they're alike. We have someone that we love that is struggling from the disease of addiction. And how do we best support them and take care of us? So that's my job. I love it. I love the opportunity that we have at ATS. I love Christina for creating everything that she does that helps families. And that's all I have. Oh yeah, we can. You can meet in person or via Zoom. So like I said, some of the families I work with are not locally here in Traverse City. So it can be by Zoom, but locally we can meet in person at the porch. So.
So we have an overview of the group psychoeducational sessions. And just to break it down, we break it down by week. Right now, we are in week 2, actually, still. Codependency is a big one, so it takes up some time. So we go through the disease of addiction, codependency, communication and boundaries, self-care, coping mechanisms, trauma and substance use, healthy relationships, and strengths and support. And just to we kind of built this piece based off of what we do and what we see as the biggest need, but that doesn't mean that this is all we touch on, right? So naturally, if other things come up, then we also go through that. I think all of this has been amazing and has been really, really, really helpful for the families that we have interacted with so far. And I just see it growing and growing and growing just since January. And that just really truthfully shows the need, right? The need that's in the community for these types of services.
I think the other thing I really enjoy doing too is every other week we have the opportunity of going and speaking at Tokoski and talking to those that are just beginning their journey in recovery and just sharing about the program and asking them at the end, does anybody feel like you would benefit, your support system would benefit from this? And I can't believe the amount of hands that go up because they know that their family or their person doesn't know how to support them in the right way because they might not understand everything. And again, it's just, if we can educate ourselves and be able to talk openly about it, and not just within your own family, bring it out to the community, talk about it, just as if you had a loved one that was struggling with cancer. Be able to talk about this. I'm so proud for all the years that my daughter tried very hard to stay in recovery. I am not ashamed of her, nor should any of you that have a loved one struggling with addiction be shamed. So the only way, that's why we say community conversations, and we need to keep the conversation going. We have no reason not to continue to talk about it.
So how you access the program is just calling our main line, our access department number, and letting them know that you want to be a part of the Family Road to Recovery program. It's a free service. It's donation based. We don't turn anybody away that doesn't give a donation. It is a free service. So by all means, take that information. And if you feel like this would be helpful for you, give that access department a call.
So we're going to wait until all the presenters have a chance to present tonight, and then we'll do question and answer at the end, and you can ask any one of the presenters a question if that's okay. And then I also, at the end, before we start questions and answers, I know personally that there are a handful of families that have traveled here that have done these programs, and they really appreciate what they learned and how it's helped them. And I think they wanted to share a line or two. And I think it might be helpful for those that maybe have not reached out yet and are doubtful or still wonder, maybe something somebody else says tonight might make that difference for you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Give me just a second and we'll get our next presenter's presentation up. So we've got that started. All right, so now we are going to have Lynn Conlon, Grand Traverse Chapter President of Families Against Narcotics, presenting about family forums and other support that FAN offers. And let's see, Nancy Dow, Brandy Johnson, Nancy Bryant are family recovery coaches in that program. And we have Ann Grizzle and Suzanne Prentice, who are part of the FAN Stronger Together Stronger Together program facilitators. So I'll have Lynn come on up. Thank you.
I'm going to take off my clinical hat and put on my community hat. So thanks very much for having this this evening here. It's just delightful to see the community get behind that which has been the scourge of the earth for quite some time. And I could sort of talk ad nauseum on it, so I'm going to stick with the slides instead. But I am the chapter president. Let's see, slide 4 is good for us. Oh, well, going back to the beginning, no, we don't want to do that. But suffice it to say that there's a certain amount of services that have been around in our community for quite some time. The only problem is they are unjoined and they are not necessarily geared towards the families. And so what I would like to present this evening, or have you hear from members who actually are part of this, I'm just the maitre d' at this point, is that segment that we have for families. It says Families Against Narcotics. That's because many years ago, that's what it was about, and it started downstate, I believe Macomb County. And since that time, we have blossomed, and I think at last count, there's like 26 chapters. So they just recently opened up a chapter up in the Chippewa UP. Just delighted to have the UP because they need services. But nah, we'll forget that. I was going to tell you, I'm the last private full-time adult psychiatrist in all of Northern Michigan. That's sad.
Can you say that again?
I am the last full-time private psychiatrist in all of Northern Michigan. There are folks who are hired by Munson, Community Mental Health, Pine Rest. But there are a few part-time folks up there. They do their gig during the day and have a little private practice on the side. We have to do something about this. So I have a MAT clinic, and then I have a regular psychiatric clinic because that's actually what I do. But my love, of course, and what I find most of the people coming to my clinic, they're interested in substance use these days. I'm delighted to see that. But anyway, back to why we're here this evening. So downstate's much farther ahead about services that are offered. They have Harmless, so it's a harm reduction program they're getting started. They have Come Back, which is small print, I can hardly read it, but it's after there's been a drug overdose, and they're kind of like what we have up here, but they're calling it Come Back, where a reaction team goes out to the house and follows up within 72 hours. Hope Not Handcuffs, and that is sort of co-drawing, sometimes not. We're sorting out the politics, but the idea is that if you have a substance use problem, you can go to a police station in the general area, and if you don't have a felony warrant or a CSC, and don't ask if you don't know, you can get help. They'll call an angel. The angel will either transport you, depending upon what program, either Angels for the Michigan State Police or Hope Not Handcuffs. And you get care that night or soon thereafter as you can. There's also what we're going to talk about this evening, the Stronger Together, and then a family recovery coach. And of course, they've been doing naloxone training for forever. So having said all that, I think I probably, yeah, well, we noticed there was a need. So our mission is to provide a forum and programs for individuals and families in our region to share experiences and assist those in recovery or seeking recovery. No family or individual member has to face substance use alone. That is it. So what do we want to do? We want to educate, we want to support, and we want to provide resources. So I have more slides, but let's get on with the show. That would be families recovery coach. We have 3, if they want to come up. Okay, 3 we definitely have 2, we have 3 recovery coaches who are going to share their experiences with you. You'll notice Nancy's in a lot of these things because she's done both.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fine.
And then I can speak to that.
Sure. Sure. So I'm also a family recovery coach for Families Against Narcotics. I actually started with them before I started for addiction treatment services and advocated to be able to have a program at addiction treatment services, and voila, they did that. And I also had the platform of being a family recovery coach at that facility, which was very nice to see 2 organizations helping to coordinate together and allow us to help people no matter where. So anyway, I'm a family recovery coach for FAN. I've been doing that for about 1.5 years. It is a structured 12-step program that you work with the family. And I have families that I've worked with the FAN program. And once that 12 weeks runs out and they are still in need of support, they are picked up with services at Addiction Treatment Services. And I have some families that I work with there now. So again, it's just an opportunity for families to be able to be supported and to know that they're not alone and to be able to work through and get educated. So I want to let these ladies have some time to talk too.
Thanks, Nancy.
Mhm.
Okay. Just, I'll just step over here. So, my name is Brandy Johnson. And this is Nancy. What's your, Brian?
I'm Nancy B, not
Okay.
Nancy D.
There's 2 of us. Nancy D. I had just asked Nancy to speak to how the 2 family recovery programs were different. And I thought there was really good clarification. So I just wanted to specify that, like the Stronger Together support group that we'll talk about in a minute, the family recovery program is based on those 12 steps. So all of you know about the multiple pathways, the use of 12 steps, and we find what works for us. Same idea. So it's a multiple pathway. I had a few of these booklets out. They're taken. If you want a booklet, I can bring you one at the end of the show.
Mhm. I said I would only take 1 minute. So I'm Nancy, and 25 years ago, I began to learn about drug addiction. Prior to that time, I had had tons of education, and I don't think I ever even heard the word at that time. This was during the 60s. My son began to use at age 15, and I had no one to talk to. I had no place to get information, I thought, anyway, because people just didn't share. But along the way, the last 25 years, I've learned so much and have been through many of the things that some of you are sitting right in this room are going through now. And I guess my main message is the plan that we have to address family needs now through FAN is a tremendous opportunity for folks. Stronger Together, you'll hear about in a minute, was where I kind of started with FAN, and then we have monthly meetings as well. But I've been through the line of overdose, jail time, all kinds of recovery instances that had to be occur. And now at this very special time where now I have my training, and I hope I'm going to be able to share some of those incidences as well as insights in our family program, family coaching program, because my son is recovering and is doing very well, but it's taken a long time. So just keep that in mind and don't give up.
So just to finish my thought about the FAN, that it's not all about narcotics, but it's about marijuana, it's about alcohol, it's about methamphetamine, it's about cocaine, it's about, you name it. We're all inclusive. So it started somewhere, it's blossomed into what it is today, which is providing as much education, support, and resources, true to our mission, that we can. I wanted to finish that thought, because I know I started it, but never finished it. So now I would like to call up for Stronger Together, our chapter secretary, new to the job this year. Excuse me. I was delighted to have her be secretary because that was my job for a number of years. We've been up here for 3 years. Suzanne has joined us and she's been a delightful balance on the executive board. Also, I guess I should attribute Ken Kaufman is our vice president and Jerry Morris is our treasurer. So Anne and Suzanne, and I guess Brandy's going to come up too. Great, 3, sweet, thanks.
Hi, everybody. My name's Ann Grizel, and really glad to see each and every one of you here. It's really important that you learn about recovery and learn about your loved one. The support groups, the Stronger Together, are huge, as Nancy spoke to, and Nancy, both Nancy's, is that when our kids were struggling, I wish we could had something that I could have gone to as well. I'm in recovery myself, so I know a little bit about recovery, but they had nothing for a family unit for someone else in recovery. And it's a whole different ballgame when it's your kid struggling or your family member. So I know what each and every one of you are going through. But, you know, we're here, it's for a plan of living with substance use disorder. It's whether your addict is in recovery or using currently. You got to love your addict wherever they're at. And you got to lean into learning about every avenue that you could possibly take. So I just encourage each and every one of you to listen and lean in and ask a million questions. That's what everyone is here for. And Families Against Narcotics is huge. And one of the things is it's not only Families Against Narcotics, it's Families for Recovery. And that's huge. You know, like I said, whether they're in recovery or trying to find it. I know when my son was finding his moments of recovery, it's pure gold. But in those other moments, it's pure hell. And we've got to learn to be able to live with all the moments. It's real. And you know, that thing, never say never and never say not in my family. It happens. So I'm glad each and every one of you are aware. It's priceless. And you can talk about where we're at and when we do
Oh,
it.
okay, yeah. So right now, we are gonna do our Sunday 6:30 meeting, which is new. We were gonna hold that in person, but Ann and I are gonna be co-chairing or leading, excuse me, on Zoom instead. So there'll be TBA, to be announced, the Zoom link. It will be on FAN's website. So again, Ann and I help out the first and the third Sunday of every month at 6:30 p.m. We are going to take it online.
And also, Lynn mentioned that the next fan meeting, we will have little write-ups of all the Zoom links for all the different meetings. Thank you, Lynn.
Perfect. Awesome. Did you want to share?
I came from one gig to another. I actually started the Live Well Kalkaska Substance Free Coalition about 8 years ago. So I was at the farmer's market working there, so that I'm still dressed for that. But, and I'm on the executive board, I'm the secretary. This is big to me. I have a son who has been struggling with substance use disorder for almost 20 years. And he's overdosed, I don't know how many times, but only by the grace of God is he still with us. And I remember moments of being in the fetal position in my bedroom, just begging God to keep him alive, and you know, not knowing what to do, just having that feeling of just not, you know, just no power. Yeah, no power, no help. Going to hospitals with him and being treated horribly myself, you know, watching him being treated horribly, my son, who I love. And I didn't know what to do. And I started going to the Stronger Together group that was originally in Grand Traverse County. And about a year ago, actually a little over a year ago, I decided to start my own group, kind of covering Kalkaska, but anybody can come, it's via Zoom. And I realized I can't do anything for him. I can just love him where he's at and take care of myself. Because within all that sick, you know, that worry, that constant worry and up at night and chasing him, and I was hurting myself. I was gonna die because the stress was killing me. And at some point I was able to let go and still love him. You know, but this group that we have, the Stronger Together group, it's family members, loved ones pulling together and supporting each other. And that is so important, you know. And just like our loved ones, you know, they're in different places. We're in different places too. You know, there's people in the beginning, there's people that are doing better. You know, it's a journey, and each of our journeys different, and it's going to be different. And just as parents, it's not your fault. You didn't cause it, you can't fix it. You know, so I hope that if you need someone to talk to, that you look to our group, and either mine or theirs, or yeah, mine's every other Tuesday. Mine's kind of crazy. It's every other Tuesday. Our next one is next week, the 31st, via Zoom, and these are out on the table out there if you want to pick them up. And my co-facilitator is Lisa Anderson, who used to be a prevention specialist for Grand Traverse County and for Kalkaska County. So, thanks for coming.
I would be remiss if I didn't say that our group has done quite well since we've had the addition of I think we call it an executive assistant. She's taken the job of being secretary off the secretary's back, so the secretary can be a board member. She is, I was going to use a word, I probably shouldn't use that word. Okay, trying to think of an alternative word. She's a very hard worker. And her name is Lynn Banfield. And Lynn, are you in the room? All right, please stand up so we can give you a hand. She's accomplished in half a year that which we tried to do in 2.5 years. So thank you. And lastly, my final say to y'all is we meet the first Thursday of the month at 6:30 at the Central United Methodist Church. Please join us. Thank you.
So we're just going to keep that up as a backdrop for now. All right. So I have one last group to introduce for you this evening. So from Naranon, we're going to have Shannon Rossman and Andrea Klein come up to present about their family support program that Naranon has. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Shannon and I'm a person in recovery. And to me, what that means is I haven't touched drugs or alcohol in 3.5 years, but I am also a family member, meaning I lost my brother almost 20 years ago to a heroin overdose. And I've been married to someone that struggles with substance use disorder, and I've dated them. And as a person in recovery, I have many friends in recovery. Sometimes they have a reoccurrence of symptoms, and those old feelings of when my brother passed away get triggered. So some of us call them character defects. I like to sometimes refer to them as trauma responses. So Andrea and I started a local Nar-Anon family group about 3 years ago. We started in Elk Rapids because there's nothing for recovery other than AA in Antrim County. A little bit, so that was like February of 2019, and then we decided to move it. It was at the Porch for the first part of 2020, and then we all know the pandemic happened. So we've been on Zoom since. Right now, we meet on Wednesdays at 6 o'clock on Zoom. People that are welcome to join that meeting are friends and family members of alcoholics or addicts. People that like are married or dating or work in recovery, because Andrea and I are all of those things. I'm gonna let Andrea introduce herself a little bit.
Hey, my name's Andrea. Super thankful to be here tonight. This is actually my first addiction/recovery event in over a year due to medical reasons. I was diagnosed with lymphoma last year, so I had to stop working. And the only thing that I had left to hold on to was my Nar-Anon family. So I'm super thankful to the library for holding this and inviting us. Yeah, one of the biggest things for me when it comes to the Nar-Anon family group is that it's for us. It's for those family members, those friends, those people that work in recovery to get support, to help hold those boundaries that we need with our loved ones and the people that we care about. I am also a person in long-term recovery. For me, that means I have not used illicit substances since March 13th, 2004. In that process, I've of course loved many addicts. My ex-husband passed away from a drug overdose in 2006. No. It's been a minute. But he left the daughter that he never got to meet. One night, it was a blessing and a curse. He was really adamant that he did not want our daughter exposed to that life. So while he was active in his addiction, he didn't want to be a part of hers. When we found out that he had passed away, I of course told her, and we've been healing since then. She also joins our meetings occasionally and has read literature. But the biggest thing is doing the work. One is, and I just lost my train of thought.
It's okay, I'll take over.
Thank you.
So I wanted to, I think the literature speaks for itself. So I'm gonna read what is called the newcomer's welcome. That's what we read anytime someone joins our meeting for the first time. So the Nar-Anon family group is primarily for you who know or have known a feeling of desperation concerning the addiction problem of someone very near to you. We have traveled that unhappy road too and found the answer with serenity and peace of mind. When you come into the family group, you are no longer alone, but among true friends who understand your problem as few others could. We will respect your confidence and anonymity as we know you will respect ours. We hope to give you the assurance that no situation is too difficult and no unhappiness is too great to be overcome. Our program, which is not a religious one, but a spiritual way of life, is based on the 12 steps of Nar-Anon. We have found that the working of these steps will bring the solution to practically any problem. We urge you to take this program and its 12 steps seriously. It has been as helpful to us as the Narcotics Anonymous program is to the addict.
We only ask for the wisdom and courage to see ourselves as we really are, to do something about ourselves with the help of a higher power as we understand this, and for the grace to release our addicts with love and cease trying to change them. Keep an open mind and attend as many meetings as possible. Feel free to share during the meeting. You may ask questions after the meeting. You will soon make new friends and feel very much a part of the group. With the understanding that addiction is a disease and the realization that we are powerless over it, as well as over other people's lives, we are ready to do something useful and constructive with our own. Then and only then can we be of any help to others. And then there's this one pamphlet that speaks to, since Andrea and I are both in recovery ourselves and family members, there's a pamphlet we have on our table called Nar Focus. And this one speaks to those things. NA helps the addict deal with his or her addiction, and Nar helps them deal with other addicts. And it is okay to tell the addict in NA meetings to keep coming back because he is not coming to my house. When it was close to me, I lost my perspective of addiction. So to that, it's just important to me that people get support in all aspects of their lives and their recovery. There's different programs for people that are struggling with their addiction, and then there's these programs that are for families and friends. And there's just different parts of it. We talk a lot about detachment and releasing with love, because sometimes it just gets that bad that we can't hold on anymore, and it's gonna cause us to lose our own recovery. So one of my favorite sayings is you can hold their hand, but you can't carry their baggage for them. You can give them resources, but you can't make them use them. So I've come a long way in my recovery, both sides of it, by using multiple programs.
One of the other pamphlets out on our table is called What is Nar? A lot of people ask, what can I get out of this program? In this pamphlet, it will tell you. The Nar members can learn how to do the following: recognizing and avoid manipulation or control by another person. We allow the addicts to accept their own responsibilities. We learn how to prevent and how not to provoke a crisis with our addicts. We stop making excuses, covering up, and taking blame for others. We care enough not to caretake, and we learn to have compassion and not be personally offended by the addict. I think that's it for me.
I think that's it for us.
Well, thank you all. That's it for this evening's presentations. We do have some time left. The tables are still here. Our organizations and their representatives are still here. People are here to answer your questions, to have conversations with you. So if there's anything else that you need, that you'd like to ask, that you'd like to talk to someone about, now's the time to do that. So I want to thank all of our groups, our organizations this evening: Addiction Treatment Services, Families Against Narcotics, and Nar. Thank you all for coming and talking with us this evening and letting us know. And then I just have Nancy wants to wrap up a couple of things, right? All right.
Melissa, thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
So first and foremost, I really do want to thank the library for having us, for Melissa, for helping to organize this and continuing to organize it every month. So before I ask the hands of the families that have been through a program, and maybe they might want to share a word or two or three that might help someone, I just would love to see the hands of, can I see a hands raised for those in recovery? If you are a family that's here, they are priceless with knowledge and information for you. I can't begin to tell you how much I've learned in the 5 years since I lost my daughter than what I've learned from those in recovery. They are so helpful and they're glad to answer questions for you. So please, if you see a person that just raised their hand and you have a question, ask them because they would be glad to talk to you. Now, could I see a raise of hands of anybody that's done a family program, whether it be FAN, ATS, Narnan, or all of them? Does anybody want to share what might have helped them? What was most helpful? Anything at all with anybody here tonight? And if you don't, that's okay too.
I think you can hear me.
Yeah, but
Oh, I'm sorry, I've been on Zoom, and I know how that end goes. I am so grateful for the programs. We've been through the FAN part of it. We've been through the addiction treatment services program. We have a family recovery coach who I said I wouldn't mention Nancy's name, so I'm not. For those of you who have a person that you love that's an addict of any kind, and you have this, you live with this anxiety, with consciously or subconsciously all the time, wondering if they're all right. And what can I do? For years as a mom, we tend to fix things, only to find out that that probably just continued to enable the person to keep doing what they're doing. So I've learned and I'm practicing a better way. There's less anxiety, more normalcy, that I can't fix him. What we're doing with the programs we attend is not going to fix our son, but we can have a better life. So I encourage you to take advantage of this, whether it's in person, which I love, but we live in Lansing, to do so. And I am forever grateful for what I've, what we've learned through this program. So thank you.
thank you, Diane.
I'm not as good of a speaker, but our family of 6 adults took part in Nancy's program, first through FAN and then through ATS, to help best support our loved one. And we couldn't put an amount of money on the program that we went through, and thank goodness it's for free or through donations, but we couldn't put a price tag on that. Everything that Nancy mentioned and others mentioned about the healthier boundaries and the better way to speak just was so helpful. And we wouldn't be a strong family unit that we still are if we hadn't have gone through that program. It helped us, talk to the younger children in our family, have the right words to say instead of not being embarrassed or ashamed about it, but acknowledging it and not just wanting to hide it away. And yeah, we are just super lucky and honored to have been part of Nancy's program. We are lucky and so proud of our family member who is 30 days sober and the whole program. We all had to keep reminding ourselves it was for us to be the best versions of ourselves to help him when he was ready for help. So thank you.
Thank you, Jane. I hope it's helpful for our families to hear from other families that have done a program. Go ahead.
I initially, I'm gonna cry again. I've already done this. I initially met Nancy through holding up handcuffs when my daughter reached out. And I was talking to the lady who actually showed up like the next day to talk to my daughter. And I was talking to her a lot. And I'm like, I would really love to have someone that I can talk to. And I'm like, can I talk to you? And she said, well, I can connect you to someone. And that someone was Nancy. And I went through that program. And she taught me ways to. My daughter has been dealing with addiction for 10 years. and is still active right now. Nancy taught me healthy boundaries and how to maintain them, and I have maintained them. And my husband was not able to attend those meetings because he was at work, but he could attest to the changes he saw in me and how different I approached situations with my daughter asking for money or a place to stay. And while he wanted to give in and be the dad that he is, and I would say no, and he would back me up on that. And I can't thank Nancy enough for everything she's done for me.
This isn't about me, but it is about the programs. It's about the programs because the programs work. They do, but I love it. And I love the people. I love every family that I've worked with. I am blessed, but it's not, it is. It's about being able to, it's multiple pathways for families as well. You know, we have wonderful new family recovery coaches with FAN, and they're ready and wanting to work with families too. And, you know, I feel blessed because ATS has given me up. They've always been there for me to let me do my work. And I'm grateful to the families that do the same thing as a person that is ready for recovery. They make that phone call and they say, I'm going to do this, and they do it for me. So.
And you don't just tell, you communicate back and forth and brainstorm to help come up with different language, because some of my language is not helping.
Thanks,
So
Jane.
thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. So I want to thank I have someone else back there. This is good. So see?
So I started participating in the family recovery program at Nancy after it was strongly suggested. My husband's a participant in drug programs out, and it was life-changing. It made such a huge difference with me and my husband. He was going to be here to speak to tonight. He had to go out to the car and take a phone call. But he has seen the difference in me and communication and just understanding. I thought before that I understood, but I realized I didn't. So it was a huge help. I participated individually with Nancy, I still do. And in the groups, so educational. Was able to learn a lot, realize that we were dealing with codependency and I didn't realize it. Learning on how to deal with that. I also participated in the family-to-family support group that just started, which was amazing last week. To have that additional resource to meet in person with people is great. And I participate in Stronger Together through Kalkaska, which is also great. You know, I fell off last month and not participating in all these things, and I could tell, and my husband could tell, you know, that I wasn't taking care of myself. So it's definitely a benefit, and just having people in similar situations and helping me become a better, healthier support person for my and know how to take care of myself at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. The same thing, you saw the hands of people in recovery. You can ask them a question. Same thing if you want to ask one of these families that, you know, decided to share, don't hesitate, because they are a testimonial to all the programs. So the last thing I just wanted to talk about is, so Melissa said, third Tuesday of every month through September, we have these events. Next month, it's going to be Northern Lakes Community Mental Health, Matt Zarelli. He's a juvenile justice diversion therapist, and he specializes in substance use disorder. So he's going to help talk about a program he works with adolescents, with teens. So important. Then we have Lauren Reed, our coordinator for the Grand Traverse County Drug-Free Coalition. She's going to talk about the work that the coalition does with Students Together Against Negative Decision, the STAND students, and also about Color for Hope and the work that that fundraiser is doing in our community. And then Ken Kaufman is going to represent Substance Free Coalition of Northwest Michigan. He's presenting for the prescription opiate prevention that he's doing through the No Dangers campaign. So we have an excellent presentation next month. Please spread the word. We're going to have flyers made pretty soon, and then we'll be emailing them to different organizations to network. But please spread the word. And lastly, I cannot thank enough all our local resource organizations that come here, set up all this information for you. Please stop at their tables and talk to them. They have so much to offer. So thank you, everybody.
Oh, yeah.